Welcome back to episode 3. We're going to do a project breakdown. So I did a half-day shoot with the girls at Brantford Kia. They have an amazing channel, and these girls are just wicked at presenting. So definitely check them out. I'll link them below. And just again, thanks to Charlotte and Gabby. If it wasn't, for your excellent presentation skills, we wouldn't have gotten this much content out, and also great content for my own portfolio. But hopefully, it was also useful for your channel. So, anyways, I reached out to these girls. Because I was hoping to do more content with car dealerships in town. So I thought, what better way than to find basically good talent, those that have a good channel or good, really comfortable in presenting, that are doing well. And so they would be great models, great talent for, my portfolio piece that I can then reach out to car dealerships in town. And in addition to that, it would be a nice test for them because historically they've been just doing, just using their iPhone. And so to see if, the production quality makes a difference for them. And I'm happy to say that it definitely increased their views and stuff. And the audience definitely noticed the difference. But I think they're key to their success. Right now, I think they're well over 130,000, I believe, subs on YouTube. And it's because I think just the sheer consistency. They do lives practically every day. Somehow they just never run out of topics, things to talk about. So it's awesome. I mean, creating content can be difficult, and these girls are just really good at basically one takes, and it's incredible to see. So to see them do it again has been partial inspiration for all of this. Again, this journey that I'm starting now in the last few weeks has been this idea of consistency, and there's no better model of consistency than these two. But yeah, so basically, kind of want to walk through, show you, why we did it, how I approached these shoots or the 3 different videos. And I think there's a lot of nice takeaways as far as the equipment used and also how I approach things so that whether you're creating some car content on YouTube or just content for potential clients, I think this is very applicable across the board. So I thought it'd be a nice breakdown to take you through it. So let's do a quick rundown of the gear. I was using my Sony FX3 that was rigged out, handheld, no gimbal that day. I think in an ideal scenario, if I had a full day and more time, I would have definitely added more gimbal shots, more exterior shots. You'll notice actually in the video, there wasn't a lot of exterior shots because the mosquitoes were killing us. Gabby just got bit right square in the forehead. We were just being eaten. The bloopers, you can, I don't know if you've seen on the channel, but it was crazy. The girls were all jumping around, just trying to keep them off us. But again, because they're so good at presenting, we could get to it really quickly. But anyways, I wish I would have done more exterior, but it is what it is. I had the Sennheiser MKE 600 on top of the camera as main, I guess backup audio essentially, but in some cases I had to use it as main, and we'll get into that. The Hollyland Lark M2 was my first time testing that out. I've played around with it a little bit at home and one other shoot, but again, this is where, as we walk through, I'll show you where I messed up with the Lark M2, and it's an importance of knowing how to use your gear. So definitely be familiar with your gear before shoots. The Hollyland Lark M2 was being recorded into a Zoom F2, and then I was using 2 Rode pod mics for the Trunk Talk, aka the video podcast, and that was being recorded by the Tascam DR40X. So 2 pod mics, XLR cable into the Tascam, and other than that, just some tripods and sort of a light stand boom arm, because even during even though they're using Rode pod mics, I also boomed mic over top the MKE 600, just to make sure we have some redundancy in there.
I'm Gabby. I'm Charlotte, and this is the 2024 Kia EV9. Let's take it for a ride.
So right off the bat, this is where I messed up. A couple things. So right now you can see on the girls here is the Lark M2s, the small wireless microphones, one of the smallest, or if not the smallest right now. It's really great in that sense. I bought it specifically actually for this shoot to test it out because a lot of times with women, it could be like light blouse or kind of sheer material. And when you wear something like this guy here, like the DJI mics or the Rode mics, they're heavier, so they can really weigh things down, and like your shirt would just be kind of dragging like this versus being light enough to kind of stay in place. So anyways, that's the reason I bought that. But again, being new, I didn't realize that there was a mode to switch from stereo to mono. I thought it just didn't have it from my testing. I don't know why I didn't Google it, because I think I did, but then a lot of people didn't realize it either, because the original, the Lark M1s that I had, they came out of the box as a stereo setup. So basically, if you had two people talking, two different mics, it would go left and right channel. I just assumed this didn't have it, and so then I just was like, okay, I'll just deal with it. So later on, doing more research, because I was like, there's no way the successor to a model wouldn't have better or more options. So sure enough, there was a mode switch. So if you are using a Lark M2, there's a switch. Just press the side switch and you'll see the color change, and it'll give you two channels. So anyways, and then secondly, I forgot to turn it on, because what happened was I was using the Lark M2 into a Zoom F2 in hopes it would give me a 32-bit float, to give me a little more leeway in case the volume gets loud or what have you. Again, we were rushing here and the mosquitoes were killing us, so then I just wasn't thinking. So luckily I had my the Sennheiser on, so it caught enough of their volume or enough of their voice there in that first intro, but and also actually in the second intro, you'll see in a sec, but it's not the best because it's not as close. It's nicer as a boom mic, or if you're super close, and here obviously I'm a few feet away from them, right? So it was enough to catch it and make do. It wasn't crucial, like a crucial moment in the video, but because I noticed the audio difference. And then actually, and as we go through this, all these errors or these places that I messed up, I don't think the girls ever noticed. They never said anything. So if they watch this now, I'm going to divulge some areas where I messed up. So, okay, let's continue. So then I do a VHS transition, and this is sort of B-roll, so it had some extra grain and some style to it a bit. And then syncing the song to certain things like the lights coming on. And then sound effects. So that sound design, that kind of, sci-fi sounding to that. Again, wish I would have done more exterior, but here at least we showed most of it. At least I got kind of the three main sides right, kind of the front, side, and back. When there's something interesting, I try to showcase that. So in this case, how the handle is flush to the body, and showing that. So then we took a couple takes. Always do a few just to make sure, and better yet, do a few different angles if you have time. It's kind of a high, medium, and like low. Always try to give yourself options. The idea with this is it's like Lego pieces. You're trying to grab all the Lego pieces you can when you're out shooting, so that way when you get to the editing room, you have a lot of different options to play with, and giving it variety. Because there's no way to know the exact sequence it's going to be put in. That's where the magic comes in with editing. You've got to just have all the pieces ready for yourself, and then when you get to editing, you can pull from it and start making something nice. So that was cool. So we got that piece in there, or that shot. You can do a fake zoom in post. A lot of times, especially when you're handheld, you kind of keep things stable, and then in post you can kind of zoom in. You don't always have to move the camera yourself, so that's something there. And then in addition to kind of like side and panning and push shots, I'll get this kind of like lock the manual focus, and then do just like rack it in and out, so you get the manual blur. And yeah, again, you want to just try a couple different types of, or a bunch of different and variety of shots, so that again you have options.
All right, before we get to know the ride.
See, so here the audio is okay, not great in my opinion, but passable for now because it's a short segment. This is Gabby, and she's talking to me through, and then the audio that you're hearing is through the Sennheiser into my camera. So it's on my rig, versus if I had turned on the wireless mics in time, it would sound a lot closer and more full. But again, passable, and that's the thing. That's why we always have redundancies, always have backups for your audio. Even better yet, backups like a second shooter or second angle for video, just in case something happens with one, you have that. But a lot of times video creation is a lot of problem solving, because sometimes you can't go back. We can't go back and recreate this day, right? So you make do with what you have.
Get to know the machine. This is the Land all-wheel drive with GT line package, making it the top trim available here in Canada. We're going to get all the bells and whistles, and here are my favorite. For our LED headlamps, you can see we also have an extension into the digitized grille.
And what I do is make a mental note of the things that are pointed out. So in this case, when she points to the lights and talks about the details and how unique it is, then I make a mental note. Okay, after the segment's done, I make sure that I go and grab nice detail shots of the thing she's talking about, knowing that I'll likely want to put it as B-roll. Much the same as when I do, in the future, I'll do breakdowns of my interior design shoots. When a designer is talking about aspects or materials or textures of a place, I'll make a mental note, or better yet, you can write it down, and then make sure you get those shots, because that'll give you that B-roll that you need to further illustrate these talking points.
A lot of glossy black accents, front and rear parking sensors with a full 360 view camera, and boy oh boy, things get even better inside. Now when it comes to the actual performance and powertrain of this vehicle, you're going to get a 99.8 kilowatt hour lithium ion polymer battery with 379 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. You're also going to get 435 kilometers of all-electric range.
Well, welcome to the interior of the Kia EV9, and I want to show.
So a couple things, I guess, when we're doing this too, or just this specific segment, the car review, it's like, okay, let's break it down to a simple story. It's quickly introduce them, but then also the car, like what are we doing today? We talked quickly about the exterior or the drivetrain, and then we jumped, inside, because now we're going to be, we start from the outside, show that. We could have done more detail again on the outside if mosquitoes weren't there. But now we're jumping inside. We're talking about all the features in here. And this will lead, because we're already inside, let's go for a test drive. At the end of that last segment, Gabby actually said, let's go for a test drive, which I then had to cut out and kind of try to chop it short and then do a zoom transition here, just to cut that, because obviously we're not going for test drive right away. We're actually jumping inside for a further review. So again, sometimes things don't line up, but this is where the power editing comes in. And then from here, we'll go for a test drive. We'll talk about that. And there's these guys, these girls have done so many car reviews, and they're so in this world that they know these talking points, things they want to highlight. So we discussed that ahead of time. And then also kind of what they're doing. I got to sit and see, like, where are they going to point to certain things, or, does this positioning make sense of me sitting in the passenger seat for now? Because if you're just showing stuff in the dash, that's okay. But if you wanted to show stuff behind and things, it's like either I do B-roll or we'll have to set the camera somewhere else. So also knowing kind of what we're going to be talking about as they walk through it, helps you understand your positioning and where you should be. So let's just continue on here.
Some of my favorite features. So new for this year, we have dual 12.3 inch screens with.
I believe right now I still am messing up. I didn't realize till like the test drive that these mics weren't on. So this is still the Sennheiser, but luckily we're in the cabin, so we're close enough, and there's enough kind of not necessarily an echo, but it bounces around. So there's enough sound coming back to the mic that, being this close is totally okay.
Dedicated climate cluster right here, that is 5 inches. One of my favorite things is the fact that we also have new software, which means a wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you can stream our podcast completely wirelessly.
And that's all the choice too. Some people don't like crash zooms. I personally, especially my wedding videos and just my love for home videos, my style is very casual, like I guess casual professional. And so I like crash zoom like that. It feels fun, feels real to me. And then also feels like you're there. It's not like I'm pretending that we're a third person watching. She's actually talking to me. We're like a viewer. So I think that's okay. And then there's times here you'll see that I'll do B-roll when there's other things that we talk about, like the review mirror. But right now, because I'm in the cabin with her, I can just zoom in and show exactly what she's talking about.
Shameless promo, I know. Some of my other favorite features have got to be isolated to the steering wheel too. Not only does it have a great design with illuminated center badging, it's also going to give you dedicated drive modes and terrain modes while still being
So there's some B-roll there.
fully heated for Canadian comfort. And if that's not enough for you, something I absolutely love that really enhances the driving and passenger experience has got to be all of the little design elements with the ambient lighting. It really is peppered all throughout this vehicle, from the front to the back. There's tons going on, and it makes it so much more fun.
So there's some error there. I don't know if you noticed a bit of the wind noise. Again, because it was on the mic was on my rig, I was pointing right at the fan, right? The vent, the AC was on. So yeah. anyways, lesson learned. Always double check my audio and make sure that the right source is working.
It's not just fun that you're looking for, but you also want tech and safety. Don't worry, this vehicle definitely has it too. When it comes to safety features, you already know that we have full parking sensors throughout this vehicle and even a 360 camera, using all those cameras on the exterior to piece together these seamless pictures to make parking and driving a little bit more fun for you too, but only at your low speeds. When it comes for your comfort features, your seats are synthetic leather, and some people like to knock it, but I say don't knock it till you try it, because this seat for the driver is heated, ventilated, and has an integrated massager. Can it get any better than that? Trust me, it doesn't. Especially after I did such a long road trip in this car. Trust me, I needed that massage seat desperately. Now, that's not the only thing that we have is up here at the rear view mirror. We also have a digital rear view mirror. So if you thought that this car needed one more camera, don't worry, it's got it.
And so that was a separate take. And that was kind of fun because it's like, I don't know, just adding a little lightness and goofiness into it and showing the capabilities at the same time. So I think that's a nice, really human piece. Yeah, maybe it goes unnoticed, but to me, I think that adds a lot to it. Kind of shows the personality and fun of the channel and of these girls. Also, have you noticed that first segment and the second here? That was all one take. Like Gabby and Charlotte just crush it. Like that's all one take. We might have done like a retake of a small segment like once or twice throughout the entire day. Otherwise, it's literally them just improvise and just like ad lib and just go for it. Like it's crazy. Like they just done this so many times and also worked with each other so many times that obviously today they randomly dressed up like twins and unknowingly, and just it's really funny. It's like they're just really in sync, and again, that makes my job so much easier.
Up top, we even have dual sunroofs. If you want something to make your cabin feel light and bright,
Yeah, unfortunately, again, the mosquitoes are out, so I didn't do that shot there. This shot was back at the dealership. It might look a little disconnected, but I think for most viewers, it's okay. Like, you get the point, and that's all right. I'll skip forward a little bit, and okay, I'll show you the transition here into the test drive itself.
A great experience to drive. All right, well, enough yapping about what this car has. Let's actually see it in action and actually go for a drive.
So there, the Lark M2s are on, but I don't know if you noticed there, that was my first part where I was like, I was really mad at myself at this point. So at some point where I had the receiver on my rig, my thumb or my hand must have turned up the gain, because the receiver itself on the M2s has like a 3-step gain. And I must have turned it up. And even though it was connected to a 32-bit float, I think it still overloaded it. So, because obviously I don't think it'd be a true 32-bit because not from the unit itself. But anyways, so I'll play this again from the beginning when she starts saying, let's go into an actual drive. There are points where she's being a little more boisterous with her voice, and you can hear it kind of clip just a bit. It just distorts a touch. And so then I was like, no. I guess my hope, all I could do was like have a bit of background music and hope that and the kind of the road noise would be kind of blend things together. So again, it wasn't the end of the world, but to me, again, when you're doing it and you want it to be perfect. You want it to be the best that it can be. So, but I'll play that part again, see if you guys notice.
All right, well, enough yapping about what this car has. Let's actually see it in action and actually go for a drive.
It kind of buzzed a little bit, right? So not the worst thing in the world. It hasn't fully clipped, but there's something happening. So anyways, these girls jump into it. And actually this is my A7 IV. I didn't mention that, sorry. So in addition to my FX3, my A7 IV, that was suction mounted to the window. And so with the Tamron 20-40, 2.8, and then the Sigma 28-70. I think, yeah, those are the two lenses I used. So right now we're on the 20 mil. We're in, just kind of a suction to the windshield right in front of Charlotte. And I just locked it off on Charlotte. I had to make a choice, because I was afraid if I left on autofocus, it would bounce back and forth between Gabby and Charlotte, and that would be very distracting. So better to just put it on Charlotte. And at the time, again, being rushed, I couldn't see the full depth. So obviously I can see now that Charlotte's a bit out of focus. So I could have increased my aperture to make her in focus. But again, that was my mistake. But also, it's fine. I think, again, as long as you have good audio, you know what the talent is saying, a little bit of blur or depth there isn't going to ruin the video. So it is what it is.
All right, let's go. So first things first, this car actually weighs more than 5,000 pounds, Charlotte. Oh! It is a big machine. It's a 3-row all-electric SUV. That's something that most people don't account for. Oh, it's probably fun to drive, right?
Oh, definitely.
This car, it's actually a ton of fun, and it's a great people hauler. So a while back, a couple months ago actually, in the winter, we got invited to an EV9.
So here I'm sitting in the back seat, and luckily, being a bigger SUV, there's tons of space. And so I'm just trying to grab some B-roll just to switch up the view every once in a while to make it more dynamic, a little more interesting. And then later on, when they're actually talking about more of the features in the built-in in-dash screen, I'm going to be zooming in on that, so giving another view. So yeah. Oh, and the other challenge was I couldn't see myself, obviously, from the front. I wasn't monitoring anything. Again, very run and gun from my A7 IV in front. So I was just trying to guess. I think there was a couple scenes where you kind of see my camera or myself poke out a little bit, but for the most part, I tried to stay behind Charlotte's seat, and then also trying to keep my my hands and the rig as steady as I could. They're very challenging. In retrospect, I should have had a gimbal there or a tripod or monopod to the floor. But anyways, I think it turned out okay. Yeah, it's a motion in there, and then luckily with Final Cut stability in post, it really helped control all the jitters and the movement. Here, I'll skip forward a bit to a section where they're talking about things or showing things on the dash. But again, like this whole segment, they're just talking like amongst themselves and just really bantering with each other and flowing so well. It's very impressive.
Screen. But you can still do everything from down here, and you can even use it with your virtual assistant. So I can still easily adjust the temperature, increase it or decrease it, increase or adjust the fan speed, change the direction of the fan, and then of course we have multi-zone, so even the passenger side, my temperature, Gabby's temperature, and then also from the rear.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, see, so you can just see like my monitor poking out here. But yeah, you get the idea. As they're talking, I'm trying to capture what they're saying, and then when they're not, either maybe just kind of off the shoulder, side of their face, or a wide shot. Again, just always thinking of giving myself options, things to cut to, because sometimes a long, steady shot can be boring unless it's required, you know what I mean? But in this case, it's like just, again, adding more interest as much as I can.
For an automated system.
But you can adjust that too.
Again, right? I shouldn't have put my bag there. I should have taken that out. Yep, things you notice. So let's get to the end here. Let's see. Oh, okay. I'll show you this. So getting back to the dealership. So that's it. So then once they kind of talk about all the features, we need like an ender. We need a way to wrap things up. So I'll show you what that might look like, or what that did look like.
Well, shall we end off our drive today, Charlotte?
I guess we should probably get back to work, right?
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If this is your first Kia Hyundai channel video, check out the rest of the videos we've done. You won't believe what we film here.
We'll make sure that we have our EV9 playlist linked down below. Also, if you want to see us go through that slalom course and how this vehicle holds up going on an 1,800-kilometer road trip, we have all of those videos on our channel, and we would love if you guys check them out. But we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
So yeah, the girls summarized up kind of where you can go to see more, or other links and other things that may be of interest to someone watching this. Just quickly, having that, again, 2 camera angles, what it does is allows you to cut seamlessly. So obviously somewhere near the end, the girls were like, is that enough? Do we need any more? Or am I going to, and then when we agreed that it was done, then we go, okay, now we need an ender, a conclusion. And so then having that B-roll jumping back and forth allows you to then just cut that seamlessly so it doesn't look interrupted. So anyways, yeah, so then they wrap that up, and then the music slowly built in the beginning, so it's kind of like a bookend. Same music in the beginning and also same kind of intro, and now I'm trying to find an ending shot, and so this is part of that. And then if you just notice there, sometimes you get like happy coincidences, I guess, or serendipitous editing. But basically, I had them turn on and off the lights, and then so this was perfect where part of the beat and the way where it exit, I matched that up to when this light went off, just as a kind of a subtle thing. I don't know if anyone else notices, but I liked it. So I'll show you here. You'll just notice how it turns off.
Oh, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Music comes in, like boom, right in that beat, fades out, little texture in the background.
Like that.
And then I always like to add a bit of bloopers, just fun if there is some. So Bug was in here, and just Charlotte's reaction was really funny. So put that in there, and again, just adding the personality and the realness of it, right? Because if you buy a car from a car dealership, why not have fun people or people that you've come across and just seem likable and that you vibe with. And so yeah, the girls do say they get a lot of traffic from people who've seen their YouTube channel. And so, yeah, I think you can't always track things, but I think, again, having a good sized YouTube channel, putting out good content, bringing value to people, especially in your industry, can just bring a lot of goodwill in a lot of different ways. But yeah. Okay, we're gonna do a quick rundown of the dealership video. It's a quick tour. The reason I brought this up to them is because I was going through their comments on a lot of their videos, and many of their audience members were saying, "Hey, can we see the dealership? What does it look like?" And I think for them, they were shying away from it because it hadn't been updated just yet. So they were like, "Wow, what's the appeal to it?" But I don't, I disagree with that. To me, no matter the state of your place of business, wherever your home is, it's like that's where you do business. That's you. Be proud of it, right? So people are coming there to buy cars. They have to come there, so they're going to see it. So let's just showcase it. Let's talk about it. And again, it might not be the kind of the ideal for them, like some kind of state-of-the-art facility, but they're great people there. They sell great cars. It's like that's what you need, right? So I was like, let's just do the video. And I'd said, worst case scenario, if you don't like it, you don't have to post it. But I think your audience members really like it, and they did. A lot of people were like, finally, the video we've been asking for, the video we've been waiting for. So anyways, let's go through that quickly as how did I think about this? It's for a lot of showcasing type videos of a space, just like my interior design stuff. I'll just grab details of things. So is it art on the wall? Is it like little details within the spaces? You can kind of go like detail into the space. And then with this one, we're kind of doing a tour with the girls walking through and just going through the different areas of the dealership, and then summarizing it or ending it with where they normally do a lot of their filming. So it's a recognizable place for the audience. But yeah, pretty quick and simple. So we'll walk through that. Detail shots, just showing it.
A lot of people know us by our YouTube channel, but did you actually know that we are a real dealership?
So let's take some time and actually show.
And that was just a fun thing. They do a lot of little jokes with the general manager and stuff. So there's just like, yeah, those little things that mean something to them and to the audience. So that's why I put that little photo of him in there, because they were like plastering his photos all around the dealership.
Guys, what our store is actually like.
Just a quick drone shot, just to
Kia,
set the
we want to
scene.
help you guys out. So let's see brand for Kia. When you walk in, you're immediately in our showroom.
And you're greeted with desks that are in an open setting. And the reason for that is not what you may think. We actually have a salaried, non-commissioned sales team, so there's absolutely no pressure.
And if you have any questions or are trying to track.
So real quick off the hop, they're kind of talking about their business philosophy and how they do business, and just really making things approachable. And it's been, yeah, I think that was a great intro there.
Your favorite sales associate, Madison at reception, is the one who's going to help.
Getting employees to be part of videos is always tough too, because a lot of people are camera shy. So if you make it simple for them, hey, just sit there, wave, say hi. It's very low pressure, and it's a great way to get people involved until maybe you do more videos for your business, and then people get more brave. And so, anyways, that's why, yeah, that was a nice simple shot there.
Oh, she's also here to help you answer all of your questions and direct you to whoever it is you may need.
A couple steps further, and you're now in our service department, where our service advisors will take top-notch care of you and make sure all your questions are answered and you are heard. We also have technicians that are EV certified, meaning that if you have a hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or full electric vehicle, there's someone who's taking good care of your car and knows what they're doing. We also do the same for our gas cars too, of course, though. Back here in the shop is where you'll find those fantastic technicians we mentioned earlier. Oh, and our brand new alignment rack.
So here in this shot, I don't know what happened, but basically I thought the focus was tracking, but it wasn't. So if you notice, Gabby and Shar just a touch out of focus.
Technicians we mentioned earlier. Oh, and our brand new alignment rack.
But because we did 2 takes, and this take was the better of the 2, just for framing and just what they said, and my camera motion of showing this, like, kind of just being in the flow with them, this was the better looking take out of the 2, so I stuck with that. So again, you make a choice.
Don't worry, it's not just Kia product that we are after. If you have another vehicle of another OEM, our certified technicians would love to help you out with any problems that you may happen. And also, this is your reminder that we're a used car dealership too. So
again, taking notes of like what they're pointing at, what they're talking about, and then making sure I get B-roll of that, and finding like unique angles too, shooting through things. Yeah, just kind of through items, through objects, just again, trying to make things interesting, giving depth to a shot. Again, this is all very run and gun, right? It's not like we have time to light anything. It's just how can I make something interesting or grab it as an interesting angle out of what exists.
So this is your reminder that we're a used car dealership too. So we have something for everyone. It's not just Kia product. We have tons of used makes and models available for you too. And this is where the magic happens.
And then this is sort of where they do a lot of their filming. It's a nice bay garage in here. And so this is where majority of their videos are. So this is very familiar to their audience. Yeah. So I added that in. So I'll do that at my weddings as well. It's like whatever's funny. Again, to break that fourth wall, to make it real is the fun part. So I didn't know that was coming up. I haven't seen this in a bit. So yeah, so I kept that in. Did a sort of these like TV blooper cuts, and then continues again.
If you can't stop by our dealership in real life, have no fear. We're here for you online, just about on every platform. So Charlotte and I do videos for Kia and Hyundai. We talk about everything there is to know about these vehicles, whether it be a vehicle walkthrough, a tech explanation, or just tips and tricks that you may have not heard in your owner's manual.
So if you want to see a whole lot more of this room, this bay, and these vehicles, make sure that you check us out on YouTube at the Kia Hyundai channel, and we'll see you there. Bye. And this is where the magic happens. Gabby and I are always working on these cars.
Jules, live at 2:30 p.m. today.
Yeah, adding some sound effects in there for fun, and again, just finding the bloopers and lighthearted moments between everything, and where it makes sense to add it, that's what I like to do. And this one, I'll just show you about the audio because it's pretty straightforward. They're sitting in a trunk talking about various topics. Today, they're just doing a little Q&A with each other, just so that, again, another idea from combing through their comments. I just felt like they didn't have any videos that kind of gave their audience another, kind of a view behind the veil, right behind the curtain. And I think them connecting with their audience is huge because they're the main stars of the show, basically, of the channel. And so I knew that that's definitely something the audience would like. And so then I'm like, okay, well, let's just do a little Q&A. You guys ask each other questions, favorite cars, worst cars, this and that. So they went through that, about a 20-minute video. And again, they just went through it straight through. There wasn't any real cuts or anything like that. And I'll just show you what it sounds like. And then I'll show you kind of the equipment used and talk a bit about that. Because otherwise it's just them talking. There's nothing shot-wise to talk about. But audio here is a nice piece.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Trunk Talk. My name is Charlotte.
And I'm Gabby.
And this is a show where we talk about all things automotive. But
okay, so let me see here. Let's do some drawing here. So we've got here 2 Rode Pod mics, XLR into, back here is a Tascam DR40X. And didn't need to do any, I have like an audio booster, sometimes like with Shure SM7B or some other gain hungry mics. You add a booster in there, but with the Tascam and actually with voice isolation in Final Cut Pro, it's great. Kind of cleans up any static or gain noise you might get from having to crank it up in post. So that worked well, nice and simple. A couple things I forgot to mention to them is the handling. Technically, with the Rode pod mics, they're not the best for handling noise, so you'll get kind of like bumps and clicks and stuff when you're like moving things around, as you'll hear in this. But again, made a choice. It's just better audio than from my backup. My backup was there in case these completely failed. But yeah, I mean, I think still better production than what they had, but in my opinion, not perfect because I could have done better. So how would I remedy that next time? I would have either mic arms off to the side. You can do like a boom mic, boom mic arm, boom mic stand, and that way they can just talk like that as they can speak freely. Sometimes the longer podcasts, these could also get heavy, so their hands can fatigue, and I think that's probably why there's more noise on Gabby's side. She's kind of switching hands a lot, so no fault there. I forgot to mention that to them because, again, we were just rushed through. This is the last shot, or last scene of the day, and it was getting close to their 2 p.m. Live. So yeah, it was a very full content day for these two. So holding it by this, the yoke here is going to be the best for the pod mics, because if you touch this XLR back here or kind of move your hands around here, it's close to the capsule, so it's going to get a lot of rummaging and kind of extra noise you don't want. And the other thing I didn't know actually, because I hadn't done a lot of it freehand into a Tascam like this, is when the XLR hits a bit of the iPad or hits your knee, it kind of moves around. I think it just the sound reverberates up into the mic. So again, clicking and unwanted noise. So it is what it is. And then right out of frame, if it was in frame, you could see it would be like the Sennheiser mic into a boom pole. So the literally just stops right above here and is boom poled just out of frame. And that is going into my camera. One, it helps me sync. Two, should the recording or something happen where these completely failed, then I would have that as a backup. So yeah, and then I have my FX3 on sticks on tripod shooting this frame, and then I'm holding my A7 IV as a secondary camera, and I'll show you a second scene here. There. So I'm on the side here just grabbing shots of whoever's talking, or a little bit of like swing, kind of panning a little bit. Again, a safety shot, something to break up the moments, just that it's not a 20-minute video of them statically. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I just wanted, again, to make it interesting and add a second angle. Again, if this was an interview and not a podcast where you would want to cut things out, having two angles is key. So that way you can cut without jarring the viewer and making it look seamless.
For Formula One, I think it would be so sick. And that also includes my love of travel. So,
I don't know if you heard that click there. So that's something that happens.
Cars, insightful thoughts, maybe. TBD, dream job right there. Just kidding, this is my dream job.
Do you want me to go next with my question?
Yeah.
So it was there. It annoys me because I know I could have prevented it, but I think it's not terrible. This is a very casual scene. If this was something more like highly corporate or upscale, you'd want it to be crisp, and but I think the beauty of the YouTube stuff and the stuff I like filming, to be honest, is more kind of, again, that professional casual. So I think we were okay. The other thing too, on here is 2 foam filters, or pop filters, if you will. But the foam covers help with plosives. So like P's and B's, it's like, if a lot of people use Rode pod mics without it. So here, right? So this is the pod mic as is, and although it is supposed to have a pop filter inside, when you're talking close enough, you can get a lot of plosives, and it blasts the capsule and it distorts it, and so it doesn't sound good. So when you have these foam filters on, it helps to stop that sound and just popping of the mic. Again, being casual, we didn't like this. I didn't have external lights on this. This is a garage door that's open just in front of them, and so you'll notice how also in this scene seems a lot more golden. It's just the sun and light shifting. Because it's a casual thing, we let it roll. We didn't bother with that. If you wanted it true control, this would have to be closed garage and control all the lightings inside, no sunlight, and then you would then start molding and adding your own light to shape things. But again, it wasn't a big concern for this shot. We just wanted them facing the light. We angled the truck or the SUV this way so that they'd be facing the light instead of backlit. And this way the light's on them. They're nice and evenly lit. You can see it's a nice exposure in that sense. I just have to monitor the main camera just in case the sunlight got too crazy. Then I would adjust. So you'd have to have that. So that's just kind of part of it. But yeah, again, very run and gun and just rolled with it the entire day. The last thing I'll mention is, I think at one point, likely, her hand got tired, or just you forget that you have to talk into a mic. If you're used to talking to like a lav mic, let me see, there was a point where Gabby started to drop her hands, and like for here, she was talking, for example.
If money wasn't an issue, I would probably have a few in my collection.
So in that point, I had to crank the gain as much as I could anyways. And then I stood behind the camera, and then when Gabby would kind of look back to the camera, I would, like mime to her, like talk to the mic, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's just, again, back to kind of user kind of, I don't want to say error. It's just like, I didn't tell her. So it's, it's, again, to mitigate that, you'd have stands and we'd go through kind of proper technique as well prior to shooting, but because it was so rushed, it is what it was, But yeah, I think you get the gist. So I think that was good. We ran through quite a bit there, and I think we'll leave it at that. If this sort of breakdown works or helps, let me know. And if there's a better way to do this, I'm not sure, to streamline it. Don't mean to confuse anybody. Or maybe I can go more depth into certain aspects. Let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you next Wednesday. Okay, see ya.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Charlotte.
And this is the 2024 Kia EV9.
Let's take it for a ride.
Before we get to know the ride, let's get to know the machine. This is the Land all-wheel drive with GT Line package, making it the top trim available here in Canada. We're gonna get all the bells and whistles, and here are my favorite. For our LED headlamps, you can see we also have an extension into the digitized grille, a lot of glossy black accents, front and rear parking sensors with a full 360 view camera, and boy oh boy, things get even better inside. Now when it comes to the actual performance and powertrain of this vehicle, you're gonna get a 99.8 kilowatt hour lithium ion polymer battery with 379 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. You're also gonna get 435 kilometers of all-electric range.
Well, welcome to the interior of the Kia EV9, and I want to show you guys some of my favorite features. So new for this year, we have dual 12.3-inch screens with a dedicated climate cluster right here that is 5 inches. One of my favorite things is the fact that we also have new software, which means a wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you can stream our podcast completely wirelessly. Shameless promo, I know. Some of my other favorite features have got to be isolated to the steering wheel too. Not only does it have a great design with illuminated center badging, it's also going to give you dedicated drive modes and terrain modes while still being fully heated for Canadian comfort. And if that's not enough for you, something I absolutely love that really enhances the driving and passenger experience has got to be all of the little design elements with the ambient lighting. It really is peppered all throughout this vehicle from the front to the back. There's tons going on, and it makes it so much more fun. And if it's not just fun that you're looking for, but you also want tech and safety, don't worry, this vehicle definitely has it too. When it comes to safety features, you already know that we have full parking sensors throughout this vehicle, and even a 360 camera, using all those cameras on the exterior to piece together these seamless pictures to make parking and driving a little bit more fun for you too, but only at your low speeds. When it comes for your comfort features, your seats are synthetic leather, and some people like to knock it, but I say don't knock it till you try it, because this seat for the driver is heated, ventilated, and has an integrated massager. Can it get any better than that? Trust me, it doesn't. Especially after I did such a long road trip in this car. Trust me, I needed that massage seat desperately. Now, that's not the only thing that we have is up here at the rear view mirror. We also have a digital rear view mirror, so if you thought that this car needed one more camera, don't worry, it's got it. And up top, we even have dual sunroofs if you want something to make your cabin feel light and bright, let the air in, but keep the bugs out. You've got these beautiful sunroofs to make this a great experience to drive. All right, well, enough yapping about what this car has. Let's actually see it in action and actually go for a drive.
All right.
Let's go.
So first things first, this car actually weighs more than 5,000 pounds, Charlotte.
Oh!
It is a big machine. It's a 3-row all-electric SUV. That's something that most people don't account for. Oh, it's probably fun to drive, right?
Oh, definitely.
This car, it's actually a ton of fun, and it's a great people hauler. So a while back, a couple months ago actually, in the winter, we got invited to an EV9 ride and drive event where we were actually able to drive this vehicle through a slalom, so through a small road course, and really maneuver it through a lot of more advanced functions, things that you wouldn't exactly do on a roadway. And this car handles like a dream. Now, we're not doing that today. We're just doing some light city and country driving, but let me tell you, the low center of gravity on this car really plants it. You can feel it. There's not a lot of body roll. It handles quite nicely, and you don't feel like you're driving a vehicle as heavy and as big as you really are.
That's what I was gonna ask you is, even though this is obviously a big, heavy vehicle, the steering still maintains that relatively light feeling.
Sharp, yeah. It's light and it's sharp, and it changes based off the drive mode that you're in. So another thing I really do like about this car is the fact that it is so driver focused, and if you are in a family that has multiple drivers for one vehicle, you can actually create driver profiles to fine-tune everything to that preference of yours. So for instance, there's an eco mode, there's a normal mode, a sport mode, and even a customized drive mode where you can actually change where most of the vehicle is getting its power from, if it's going to be the front motor, rear motor, if the steering is going to feel light, if it's going to feel sporty. So it's really customizable, and even in its most default neutral setting, it's responsive, but it's not, I don't know, it's not overly stiff or anything.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It hides its weight well, which is quite nice. There's a lot of other things I really do like about just the layout of the car, but I'll let you talk about that because our eyes are on the road right now.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously we showed you guys a lot of my favorite driver's assistance features when we were parked and just going through some of the different menus, but I want to talk and show a little bit about how they perform when you're in action, so when you're in motion, because everything in this vehicle can actually be controlled by the driver, but also by the passenger. So it works both ways, which is something I really like. So obviously when you take a look at the greater setup, I'm going to focus on this area here right now, is these buttons, they look like they're flush on the dash, and they are, but they still provide a little bit of haptic feedback as you touch them. And from them, you can still quick jump into all of your main features, whether it be in-house navigation or also when you are set up with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And then you can quick jump back into home, set a favorites button, everything like that. Now, down here, I think is where people can sometimes get confused. They're like, oh my goodness, I can't necessarily reach this climate screen. But you can still do everything from down here, and you can even use it with your virtual assistant. So I can still easily adjust the temperature, increase it or decrease it, increase or adjust the fan speed, change the direction of the fan, and then of course we have multi-zone, so even the passenger side, my temperature, Gabby's temperature, and then also from the rear.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually. Sorry, because everyone keeps talking about this 5-inch panel here and how it's not visible at all by the driver because of the steering wheel. And that's valid. I can't actually see everything that's going on there, but the reason why it's placed there is, number one, the passenger can access it. And also, if I hit this plus icon here and my eyes are still on the road, I'm focused, I can go in and make finer tune changes. Now, a majority of the things you'd want to change anyway are actually accessible from these toggles, but again, you can always go into this menu and do it manually, or even use your voice commands.
Yeah,
so
which
you can do
something
everything
I think
with
is
voice
really
commands
cool.
here. Yeah.
So overall, it is pretty easy to use, even though it looks really different. And I feel like the climate control is probably the biggest bone of contention people have when they look at this.
Yeah.
But everything that you really can access where you need it. Another one of my absolute favorite features is new for Kia with this updated software, and that is the included search function. So basically what this does,
I like how it gives you the warning, like it's only utilized by passengers if you're actually going to type something. If not, you should use the voice function.
Yeah, definitely. So because I'm in the passenger seat, I can do that today. Woohoo! But that search function, not only can I look for points of interest, so actual addresses, but I can also search for contacts, I can search for media, I can actually search for features. So if I want to do something about this blue ambient lighting that I have in the car, I can actually search ambient lighting.
If I change that.
Yeah, do you want pink?
So everything can really be done on the fly.
Yeah, so not only is it going to give me different things, but also set up, adjust ambient lighting, and then from here I can go and change the color.
Cool. There's a lot of tech on this car.
a lot, really.
Which can be intimidating.
Yeah, but the tech's not just for the comfort and the overall cabin experience, it's also for the drive. There's a lot of advanced safety functions on the vehicle that are truly, truly impressive. There is a heads-up display, which we'll include a shot of, because you can't see it unless you're the driver, which again minimizes distractions in the rest of the cabin. The steering wheel itself is beautifully heated and leather wrapped, and you get an illuminated emblem for your Kia badge in the very center, which is a small thing, but makes a nice difference.
It feels so luxe.
Yeah, it feels nice. You also have everything you need and more within the driver's fingertips. So your voice commands, your Bluetooth, your phone, and even your volume controls with including a mute function are all going to be on the right side. And then separated is going to be actual driver assistance functions. So some manufacturers kind of combine everything on either side. So you'd have volume on one toggle, and then right underneath you have something completely different. It doesn't even make sense. Kia makes it make sense. It's driver friendly.
Like
so
one side each.
Exactly, it's separated. On the left side you have your smart cruise control button. So because we're in the country, there's not a recognized like highway speed limit, if that makes sense, or interchanges, that kind of thing. So it's going to go based off the speed of the car ahead of me and always maintain a safe distance. I can change the following distance between 4 presets, and the reaction timing is actually very, very human-like for an automated system.
But you can adjust that too.
Yes, you can adjust it. So you can make the acceleration even quicker if you'd like, the reaction timing a little bit more responsive or slower based off whatever you prefer. And all that's configured within your settings, but turned on through the steering wheel. So you don't actually have to dig through anything to turn these functions on. There's also gentle steering assistance too. So right now we're on a country road, meaning we only have a one painted line in the very center. But if I were to approach closer to the car ahead of me, it'll actually follow the movements of them to make sure I am centered, even though there's no 2 lanes for the vehicle to measure off of. Yeah. Drive and train modes are down here. I spoke about that briefly earlier, so that's very nice to have. Train modes essentially just change the all-wheel drive torque distribution between the front and rear motor, and also the stability control of the car. It will change your range a bit, but they're meant to be used only for those terrains, so definitely don't drive in mud mode if you're on a beautiful
sunny day like today.
Yes, exactly. Another thing I really do like is the capability of adjusting the regenerative braking system on the fly.
I was gonna say, are those paddle shifters on an EV?
Paddle shifters on an EV.
What are they doing there?
So right behind are media and driving assistance controls. You may or may not be able to see them, but they're shifters. The one on the right is going to be to decrease the amount of regen, the one on the left will increase it. And essentially my higher level of regen is going to apply more of that regenerative braking force.
No way.
You got it. So similar to how you'd engine brake on a gasoline vehicle, you're gonna feel a little bit more of a pullback as I let off the throttle. So there's no one around, I'm just gonna lift my foot off the accelerator now, and my car is coming to not a complete halt right now because we're not on the full level, but it's decelerating quite rapidly. And that's on level 3. So level 1's obviously going to have a much lighter brake force. The benefit of this is, number 1, you're using less of your friction brakes, so you can extend the lifespan of your mechanical brakes on your vehicle, which is a nice bonus. We always love to see that. But also you're slowly building back a little bit of kinetic energy into the range of your vehicle, so the battery itself. So if you are only at a 50% capacity, you can actually maximize the amount that you're actually going to travel. This is phenomenal if you're someone who drives in stop and go traffic where you're constantly slowing down, coming to a halt. Because guys, think of all that energy you can restore. I was gonna say,
why not make the most of it? Like, even if you're on a hilly drive too, like make the most of it, get as much as you can when you're going down those hills, when you're coming to a stop, like get what you can out of your car.
Absolutely.
You paid the premium price for an electric vehicle, get the most out of it.
Absolutely get the most out of it. And now with that being said, you always want to make sure you still use your mechanical brakes. There's actually a way to shut off regen completely, so you can actually use those brakes to make sure they don't rust and rot. Because brakes, if you don't use them, you will lose them. Which is nice to have.
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about one of my favorite features. So we showed it briefly, but it's got to be the digital rear view mirror. So again, if you thought this vehicle needed one more camera,
it did.
There you go, we delivered. But this is something that's interesting because this is a people hauler. This is a hauler vehicle, it's huge. So if you do have people who are taller in the back, or if you're like me and you've driven with balloons in your car before, it can sometimes obstruct your rear view. But the nice thing is you can use this, and it actually gives you about 6 lanes or 6 parking spaces worth of feedback on either side. So it's very wide. But if you don't want to use it and if you don't like it, it's not like it takes away from your regular rear view mirror. It just is your regular rear view mirror with HomeLink. So it's not like it's, again, taking away from a feature. It's just something a little bit extra, a little bit more of a fun enhancement to make too.
There's a giant wasp in the car with us right now.
Huge bug.
Just want to point that out.
I'm terrified, personally.
Yeah.
I'm so scared.
Other than that, I will say the cabin, I mean, obviously I'm focused on driving, but what a comfortable feeling this cabin is. The driver's seat itself,
tell me about that.
heated and cooled for both the front and even the second row seats actually. So you get multi-way control, especially in Canada. We got hot summers and cold winters. Why not have both functions for that?
Yeah.
But the driver's seat's a little bit extra special. You do get the massage function, which Charlotte mentioned a bit earlier, and it's phenomenal. It is so good. There's also another cool thing. Valet passenger seats.
It's like, why are you touching my arm?
I can fold Charlotte's seat in half if I wanted to while she's in here.
So do not drive this car with someone who's immature, and it's gonna mess with your seat.
Anyway, it's a lot of fun. The tech is so much fun in this car. The media system as well too, or the sound system I should say. Meridian, so it's a premium sound. Great. Yeah, I'm not a big...
Is that your expert opinion?
Well, okay,
It's great.
I'm not gonna lie. I am not a big music or sound person. Like, I'm not a sound freak or, I don't know. I just know if I turn it up and it's loud and it doesn't sound staticky, that's okay. That's good. And this is good for me. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't put it better myself. The nice thing is when you do have like a premium sound system in this vehicle too, is you are more so able to have a little bit more customization in your menu screens, which is something that I think is really cool. Which I'll see if I can go and slip into it. It'll be probably out here. Split up. Sound. So you'll see that we've got the controls here for premium sound, and really you can do some more customization, which I think is really, really sweet. So stereo imaging and immersion, so you can play around with that. And again, that is really only for the vehicles that do have this premium sound system in them. So different from the in-house. From here you can see the screen, and again, one of the changes that Kia has made with this different software is the fact that everything is so much bigger, even these smaller icons that are broken down. So say if I flip back to my middle screen, these are obviously a lot bigger, and you can move them around to, again, really customize it, not while I'm driving though. But even if I hit setup, I'm able to dip in, and you can see that there's so many bigger options too, easy to find everything. And again, if you're not even sure where to look or where to start, hit that search function. You may as well use it. It's there to help you, and I think it helps a lot with the learning curve that comes with a new vehicle with so much tech, specifically with an EV. EVs have so much tech as it is, and this really helps with learning. Helps mitigate it. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. All right, now to wrap this episode up, let's go through some quick fire facts about the EV9. We both had a good amount of time actually long distance driving this car, so we've spent some time with it. Charlotte, what are some notable things about the vehicle?
Some notable things about this vehicle. It's electric. No, just
It
kidding.
is?
No way.
I thought it was just really quiet.
Yeah, it doesn't have an engine. So that's notable feature number one. Tell me about the range on this thing.
Range, so this is the GT Line Land package, so it's the highest trim with the most equipment. That means it's gonna have a little bit less range than its lower trim lines. So it's 435 kilometers of pure electric range. However, based off how you drive, you can see it do better or worse.
Definitely. Some other notable features when it comes to tech. This is going to have all the bells and whistles this trim, such as that digital rear view mirror. It's got wireless phone charger, full wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's got heads-up display, which does work in conjunction with your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto when it comes to navigation, which is absolutely chef's kiss. You also have multi-zone climate control, so Gabby, me, and the rear, tri-zone if you will. You also in the rear are going to have rooftop mounted diffusing air vents. So if you're a parent and you've got kids in car seats, that's something you're going to absolutely love. Tell me about the drive though.
The drive is, again, phenomenal. You have to drive it for yourself to really get the feel for it though, of course, but let me tell you, for a vehicle of this size, it handles like a dream. It is extremely silky smooth. And I noticed with a lot of EVs, sometimes the drive can almost feel disconnected because of how quiet it is. It literally just feels like a method of transportation, which to its core it is. But this car has it's got a lot more going on that makes it special. Definitely. So it really is a pleasure to drive, if that makes sense. I'm really impressed with the way it handles, and like I said earlier in the episode, we've actually got to put this vehicle to the test. If you know me or this channel, you know I love power. The torque is instant on an EV, so that obviously makes me smile. And Charlotte, the drag coefficient is that of the Corvette C8. So the C8 body style Corvette and the EV9, which is a rectangle on wheels, has the same drag coefficient. So the body of this vehicle is meant to be extremely slippery. Air is going to channel over it, not drag through it. And you're going to get that best range possible thanks to all the research and design that went into making this car the way it is, which is surprisingly square.
It's hip to be square.
I guess it is.
So not only do you get great range, great tech and safety features. You get a really good look on the exterior too. You get tons of space on the interior, and you really get a modular configuration because it is that nice big rectangle shape, tons of space. I think that this vehicle is so impressive, especially when you consider it against some of its gas counterparts, especially when you consider it against other electric three-row SUVs. I think this one really stands out, and this is the one that's going to be worth your money.
Absolutely. Well, shall we end off our drive today, Charlotte?
I guess we should probably get back to work, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If this is your first Kia Hyundai channel video, check out the rest of the videos we've done. You won't believe what we film here.
We'll make sure that we have our EV9 playlist linked down below. Also, if you want to see us go through that slalom course and how this vehicle holds up going on an 1,800 kilometer road trip, we have all of those videos on our channel, and we would love if you guys check them out. But we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
To get out of here. Like
I'm
that
freaking
Hornet
horrified.